Today is Monday, June 15th, 2026. I'm the interviewer, Amy Moritz, with Alisa Robinson via Zoom. Alisa is one of the most prolific scorers in Western New York women's basketball history. She began her college career at Hilbert in 1986, averaging 13 points and 8.9 rebounds per game. She then transferred to Canisius, where she delivered two of the most dominant offensive seasons the program has ever seen, and her 670-point campaign in 1989-90 still ranks as the highest single season total in Canisius history. And I'm so excited to talk with you, Alisa. Thanks so much for joining me for her story.
Well, thank you for having me.
Great. So I want to start with, can you tell me about a time that you first remember falling in love with sports?
Well, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start basketball until my sophomore year in high school. But my coach, he was my algebra teacher. That's how I came into basketball. He kept saying, "Oh, you should play, you should play." I used to be a cheerleader. And so that's how I got into basketball. I remember him taking me and a couple players to a Canisius basketball game. And at the time, my assistant coach, Kara Hahn, was playing for Canisius. And I just fell in love on how she dominated that post play. And I think that started my journey into wanting to be a good player in basketball.
Right. So yeah, that's like, what was the transition like for you then to, like you said, like you were a cheerleader. So what was that transition like to then start playing maybe a little bit later than some of the other girls who you were playing with then?
Yeah, once I just started it, just that's all I did. I just ate,
Uh-huh.
slept basketball. I used to go to the parks in Buffalo and play with the boys. Who got next? Okay, I'm after you. I picked my four, and then, you know, as they say, it was just history after that. Sometimes I
Yeah.
would play with my brothers, but for the most part, just getting out there and wanting to just learn and just take a grab of it. I didn't wait for my brothers because they were always doing their own thing. So if you want to be the best, you got to play with the boys. Uh, that's how I looked at it because they're more stronger than we are, and if you could hustle with them boys, you'd be a pretty good player against the girls. So.
Right. Yeah. So can you tell me about playing in the parks, in that era? You mentioned a little bit, playing with the boys. And did you play like in the Randy Smith League at all? Like were you in that scene as well?
Yes, yes. I played in the Randy Smith. I played with a good group of girls on my team. Some went
Mhm.
to Hutch Tech. Um, some were older, um, city honors. But playing with the boys, I lived in Chelsea, East Delavan area on the east
Okay.
side of Buffalo. So we
Okay.
had Dewey Park. We had Delaware Park. Those were the two that I went to the most. And on the weekends, I can recall one of my younger brothers that was a year under me. He also played basketball. Him, my other youngest brother, he was a football player. We would go to Campus East, and we would play. It started off, all of us are on our own teams, like playing horse kind of thing. Next thing you know, it was two
Mhm.
against one, me and my brother Tori against my brother Craig. And I'd say at that time, that's where I got the toughness from because he would be like, there's no crying in basketball. Shut up and play defense. And it was like, okay, well, here we go. Buckle up.
Yeah, and you mentioned you did like playing against the guys obviously kind of
Hmm.
toughened you up and that skill development. What was it also like though to see? I feel like that era has some of the best women's basketball players and that ever came out of this region, and they all played in the parks, and it feels like that was really important for everybody.
Yes, back then, I mean, there just Western New York basketball, girls or guys, had an abundance of players. And like you said, I did play in the Randy Smith, and uh, one of the fondest memories is with Dorothy Jones.
Okay.
Dorothy Jones. I played the Empire State with her as well, and Yvette Angel. And I was the young 18-year-old with these experienced girls. And at the time, I was just going into Hilbert College. And it was pretty good. I had the young legs. I would get the rebounds. I would uh, outlet that ball, but then I'll be also the recipient of hard work pays off because I'm already down there shooting that layup. So I don't know, just playing with the boys, and I think that helped me prepare playing with the experienced females in that area because
Yeah,
you had to hustle.
right. And, you mentioned the Empire State Games. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. It was
Mhm.
awesome. I played 5 years. I had two golds, two silvers, and one bronze. But the fondest is playing with Dorothy and Yvette and Cara Han and some of the other ladies. I still have that picture of our championship that would sometimes come up, and I yeah, I'm so repetitive. I probably already sent it 1,000 times to the girls, but every time it comes up, God, look at this picture. But Empire State, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like both, playing in the parks and the Randy Smith League, which had a girls
Mhm.
division at the time, and then
Mhm.
Empire State Games, which had opportunities for girls.
Yes,
This was before all of the movement, like basketball did not start 4 years ago, right? For
right.
women. Did it feel, or when you look back, was that maybe a little bit ahead of its time? Both the Randy Smith League having girls divisions and then the Empire State Games having those opportunities?
Well, of course. Well, as far as the Randy Smith, it wasn't that many girl teams.
Okay.
However, I mean, like the boys, obviously in each group dominated
Mhm.
the more players they had.
Mhm.
However, I don't know. I think back then it was just the grit, the hustle, the heart. We didn't have the television cameras back then, so you played for the love of the game.
Right.
Mm.
So tell me, I'm sorry, where did you go to high school?
Riverside.
Riverside. Okay.
Riverside High School.
All right. And then how did you tell me about then finding your way to Hilbert?
Well, it was one day I was walking down the hallway and I hear my coach voice calling my name. I turn around and he had another person who turned out to be my coach at Hilbert, Sal Biscaglia. And he introduced us and he said that he would like for me to play at Hilbert. I look back like, you talking about me? Because again, that was, I've only been playing for 3 years. And wow, somebody wants me. I got the notice of someone that recruited me to play at their JUCO.
Mhm.
And, someone asked me this out the blue after excuse me, spoke with you about this interview. All of a sudden, someone out the blue asked me what, before I went to Canisius, where did I go? And was I Western New York? Um, I was like, no, but I went to Hilbert College and I was All American. So I just knew once I started playing basketball, we needed the ball. So it didn't matter. I hustled all over the court. Probably wasn't even my person, but I hustled that much that I averaged a lot of rebounds. So maybe that's how Sal, got a hold of me. But
Mhm.
he said there was no one better than me, and he saw the potential. And boy, did he bring that potential out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me about those 2 years at it was a JUCO. Hilbert was a JUCO at the time. So
Yes.
tell me about those 2 years at Hilbert and what that was
Oh
like.
yeah. It was a wonderful experience. When we do our drills and all of that, by your position, when it came time to scrimmage, My coach got so tired of me keep getting the rebound and not having control on the follow up shot that for a minute while they scrimmage as a team against each other after all of the drills were done, I would just be at a side basket with the rebounder and I would just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And just with Deidre and Rebecca, those were our point guards at the time, our backcourt at the time. And just playing with those girls, it just, and Sal, he was just a wonderful coach. He ran us, he drilled us. We were in such condition after, depends on if it was a missed ball or a missed basket or a rebound, he would call out different plays and you had to hustle. So, I mean, and he had a wonderful program. Every year they dominated Hilbert College in that JUCO division, just in that area, just dominated the likes of Genesee and Jamestown. We would scrimmage Canisius a lot too. And yeah, it was just a wonderful experience. And I hold those memories fond. And, me and Coach, we still keep in contact.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I mean, Sal had such a great career too, and such an impact on girls and women's basketball in the area as
Mhm.
well.
Right. He truly became a friend for life. My sophomore year, I couldn't finish the season because I was pregnant with my first daughter. And he was so caring. That was the most difficult thing I had to do, was to tell him that I couldn't play. And I played up until I was 5 months pregnant.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I know, in tournaments, dominating too. May I add? This one tournament in Florida averaged 27 points, and I was pregnant because I still had to do the same work the other girls did. But I just brought that up just to say he was it had an impact on my life on and off the court, that I was able to finish school, and then, as we know, I got another scholarship and I was able to stay home and go to Canisius.
Yeah. So, like what a great story about Sal, right? And his
Mm-hmm.
ability to have that sort of positive impact on you. And I know on other players as well. You mentioned stay home and go to Canisius. So
Mm-hmm.
now tell me about the transition from Hilbert to playing at Canisius.
Well, Coach Rappa, him and Sal coached the summer Empire State game. So that was an easy transition because I already knew Coach uh, from him coaching us in the Empire States. And then Kara, she was the assistant, but she was also my teammate in the Empire State game. So, I mean, each of them were similar in their coaching and their philosophy of what their game plan was. So, me going to Hilbert and then going to Canisius, it was just, there was no difference really. So it was an easy transition, and it really helped me also, take care of my responsibilities as a young mom too.
Yeah, was that, and as you're comfortable like talking about it, what was that balance like for you? Because it sounds like you did have some support from your coaches and teammates as you were balancing all of that.
Yeah, and my mom, she played a big part of it because
Mhm.
right after I had my daughter, and I think soon after I told my coach I was pregnant, whoa, that belly got big, and it was like, next thing I know, I was delivering her, and a month later, I was back on the court. So my mother played a big role in when I had to go to classes, whether it be classes, practices, or go away for my away games. My mother was definitely there to support me more than I had expected her to do so, but she helped me be able to do what I need to do at that time to fulfill my commitments to both programs.
Right. I mean, that's fantastic to have that, to have that support. And what a blessing to have that support in your
Mm-hmm.
life. Um, you said fulfill your commitments, but I think your stats show you did a little bit more than just fulfill your commitments. I mean, you were
Yeah,
quite the prolific scorer
thank you.
on the basketball court. Tell me about the game and tell me about scoring and what were some of those things that kind of allowed you individually and maybe the team structure to have those two types of seasons.
Well, yeah, I just know that if you work hard, you reap those benefits, and I just took a hold of basketball, and defense. I love playing defense. I love to stop the other person, and as far as on offense, I'm gonna make you work on defense. So it's just for the love of the game. I just love like the post. I just love just being active. I'm always give them a target and and where you can't just overlook me, because you're not sure if the person. No, I've always had my girl pinned. I've always made them work, and you know, and by my coach making me just shoot basket after shoot basket, that just calmed me down to relax, whereas to just shoot, go up and just shoot with good form and just, Coach Rapper, he wanted me to be more finesse, but that wasn't me. I was just all power, all power. And, I get the rebound, I'm running. I'm running with the person who I just made that outlet with. And you have one of those point guards, they will find you. So
Yeah.
when I went to Canisius, there was a good group of freshmen recruits that came in with me. So it was it was special. It was special, and for both programs, we were a family on and off. We did things off the court as well as work hard on the court. So that made it easy too.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed. Like most women that I talk with, when I ask them about their memories, they talk about their teammates and times they had together rather than any individual games or anything like that. Like that, it
Right.
really became a part of a family for them.
Yeah, it's a sisterhood, and
Mhm.
you always want to do your best for, if you see someone working hard, you want to work that much harder with them.
How would you describe women's basketball in the late 1980s, early 1990s when you were playing college ball?
Underrated, you know. We didn't get as much accolades as the men programs back then. But it was just coming out, it was just coming out. And I got to play with some of the top programs because they flew me when I was at Canisius. The NCA flew me to the Olympic Training Center to try out for a national team. So I got to play with the likes of Dawn Stanley, Rebecca uh, Lobo, to name just a few. That was Cheryl Swoops that was there. And that was a good experience. Unfortunately, I didn't make the team. However, there was only one cut on the cuts. If I had made it past that cut, it was only one more cut. And so, but that was a good experience.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a lot of, really a big time experience. Like did you bring anything back? Was that after post Canisius or while you were still at Canisius?
No, that was at Canisius.
It was at Canisius, yeah. So were you able to bring that experience back to you? Like what were you able to maybe take from that experience
Uh, just
back
to
to
continue
Canisius?
to be a strong player.
Hmm.
Girls my height back then, they had us lined up by positions. So, of course, when you go to little things like that, you get to hang out with some of the other players. And the group of players I was hanging out with, when we went to the gym that day, they had us lined up by heights. Those girls that was my heights were going to the point guard position. They like, Robinson, where you going? I was like, well, excuse me. In school, I play forward. So I was one of the smaller forwards. I'm playing against 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and I just continue to work hard, keep moving on the court, and that year my last year at Canisius, I just brought that same work ethic.
Um, what who were you've already mentioned a few names, but I'm going to ask you kind of again, more pointedly, who were some of the influential coaches and teammates that their impact that impacted you, and maybe their impact has lasted?
Well, Coach Sal, of course,
Mhm.
he really brought that out and really showed me how I can impact the game and be a better team player. Uh, Kara, you know, I mean, I fell in love with her position, that post position from the first time that I saw her just get wide on that post and turn around and shoot and just rebound, get wide. Um, as far as teammates, I'll never forget that summer. That once a couple of summers I played with Yvette Angel. I mean, she played with my mother' youngest sister, and Yvette was just pretty smooth. I mean, I played with some good point guards, but Yvette was pretty something special. And Dorothy Jones, our second guard, um, it seemed like after high school, before I came over here on the West Coast, I played with her for many a summers. And she just, when you play with people like her and Yvette, they just work and they push that ball. And if you're hustling right alongside them, they're going to find you. If you're making the cuts that you need to make, they're going to find you. So yeah, I would say those three teammates, along with some others, but just those three that just stand out to me. And of course, my coach, Sal, I mean, I think that's one of the greatest coaches ever.
Yeah. You did already mention family a little bit when you're talking about your basketball origin story. How
Hmm.
did basketball show up in your family?
We used to have a basketball hoop in our driveway, and I'm the only girl. At the time, I had three brothers, and then we had a blended family. So, the boys were always out there playing. Clifford, he really just, when I was a cheerleader, he played football. My brothers played football for the West Side, and next thing he's back there playing football. I mean, playing basketball, and that's all he did. Like my mother's husband at the time had rental property. The other boys would have to go to that rental property, but Clifford, he was always in tournaments, dribbling that basketball. Um, so it was pretty special growing up with. I'm the second at that time. I was the second of four of yeah, four kids when we was in high school. And my mother had her youngest son, but growing up with those three brothers was just good memories of my childhood. I've since lost two of them, um, but yeah, I would never change how they impact my life. And then the year that's under me, because we're all a year behind each other. Um, he started playing basketball, and he dominated as well. Matter of fact, he went to Seneca, and we all talked him into coming to Riverside where we were. So my brothers Clifford and Craig played on the boys team at Riverside. And then Craig also went to junior college as well. He went to Genesee. So I got to see him beyond high school because Clifford went to UConn, and me and Craig, we were in the same conference. So that was pretty special. I dominated
Oh.
their girls, he dominated our boys. But it was pretty nice. And then back then, they had the U.S. Day to Day paper, and my brothers and I ended up on the front page because we were leading our teams in scoring and rebounding, and they dubbed us the Swish Family Robinson. So
Clever,
that was, yeah,
clever, right?
that was
Yes.
pretty cool.
You know, was I mean you and your brothers all very, very talented in basketball. Clifford, obviously he
Hmm.
has a major presence in for Western New York and even a national presence for basketball as
Yeah,
well. What did some people that might put pressure on them? What was, but it sounds like it was really it was a good impact on you.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
No, that's okay. Um, he Clifford was because he was such the big name,
Right.
definitely in Buffalo. And then, so
Mhm.
did that like what kind of impact did that have? Did that have on you? Was
Oh
it
well,
your
I
yeah?
mean, I was a proud sister.
Hmm.
But I worked just as hard as he did too on the court. He just got more accolades, and unfortunately, what ended my career was an old injury, a knee injury I had before I even went to high school. And so, but I know that I would have gave it that old college try to uh, to try out for one of the WNBA teams because Portland had one as I was ending my career in '93. Portland had one, so I'm sure pulling some strings with my brother get me a tryout. So no, it was. I was very proud to be a sister, and again, I worked that hard on the court. Um, just not just on his name, but just for the love of the game. We all loved the game, and the game loved us.
When you look back on your career, how do you feel? How do you feel when you look back on your career now?
I feel good. I mean, I love. I have two daughters, 7 years apart. My youngest daughter, she played basketball, and I used to go to her high school and practice with her team. So yeah, when I look back on my career in basketball, it makes me smile because I know that I did the best that I could do, and I gave it my all. And my willingness to learn and take constructive criticism. That's what basketball, I think, sports. Period. It gives you that toughness, you know, being able to learn and not take that personally. You didn't do it right this way. Okay, well, show me how to do it. You can receive that. And that just helps you in life as well.
Yeah. The last question for you. What do you think younger players today should know about the path of women that your generation walked?
Mm. I think the overall toughness of uh, the grit. We did it for the love of the game, not because they're gonna televise this game uh, this week. Just working as a team, you know. I don't know. Just I think hard work. Players back then they worked hard. It was just the heart. Uh, I think players back then had a lot of heart. Not saying that they don't now, but it was just the little things, the just working hard on defense, working together as a team. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but just if you work hard, you will reap the benefits, and definitely working as a team. In team sports, there is no I, no matter how good you are. But if you don't do it as a team, you will never get anywhere. So,
You needed the point guard to deliver you the ball, right, when you were on
right,
the court. So you needed that to happen in order for you to
absolutely.
score the points.
Mm-hmm. And you needed the rebound, you needed the forward. Everybody
Mhm.
has a job to do. And if you all do your job, it'll all, come together, come together as one. And no matter how, I think Canisius didn't have a really good record before the that freshman group got there with along with me, and we just worked hard. We worked hard, and we reaped the benefits. So both programs, again, holds a dear place in my heart. And that's what I used to tell my daughter when she played: just work hard. You know, talk on the floor. Let your teammates know you're here or defense is there. So yeah, just if the girls just on that aspect, work hard, work as a team, there's nothing that they won't do. And then nowadays they're on TV. They're getting the sponsors that the boys was getting back in the day. So I mean, I think women's basketball has come a long way, and yeah, we're here to stay. Like my shirt, everyone watches women's sports.
Yeah. I love it. Alisa, thank you so very much.